Hello, everyone. It's Dan Schultz from the WCC Community Health Program back with you on this WCC Wednesday. And I have the honor of having with us today Judge Ashley Morse of the, I'm not sure I'm going to get this right, the Rock County Circuit Court.
Yes.
And she is, in fact, the first Black woman to be elected to that court. Are you the first African American individual as well?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and Judge Morse spoke to a conference a few weeks ago that our executive director, Carrie Parker, taught. And I think what Reverend Parker told me was that you sort of got elected because nobody told you you couldn't.
Yes. So my path to the bench happened when Judge Dillon who was the longtime presiding judge over Branch 4 and our former chief judge, when he announced his retirement, because he was retiring at the end of his term, or before the end of his term, it was going to be a governor's appointment. And so when that happens, essentially, qualified applicants, people that have in good standing, practicing at least 5 years, can apply to get this appointment by the governor, and then you have to run for re-election in the spring following your appointment. And so I ended up putting my hat in or putting my name in the hat and got the appointment, and then was just elected for a full term just last week, April 4th. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. It was very exciting for me to go in there and see my name on the ballot. But yeah, to get the appointments and go through that process through the governor's office, in some ways it can be a little more intimidating than just running for election, even though that's an undertaking in and of itself. But really, I kind of, in my years of practice, and I had been an attorney practicing since in Wisconsin since 2009, but I had always been told and kind of heard that there was kind of a process you need to go through and experience you need to have and people you need to know in order to kind of really have a chance of making it, on this governor's list. And really, I just seemed like, in the past, there's been times where there were appointments and I didn't apply and I didn't, put my name out there because I thought, what are the odds are that, they'll pick me. I'm not old enough. Maybe I haven't been practicing long enough. But eventually I kind of just got out of my own way and said, Ashley, can you do this job? And, the answer, yes, I think I can. And so I put my name out there, and what I found out through that process was I had way more support than I thought I had, because I think you're used to kind of working individually, and sometimes it's not easy to share, what your hopes and dreams are with people or ask people for help. But once I, took that step and, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable, I'm going to put myself out here. And it really, I couldn't be more just humbled and happy and appreciative of the support that I got in that process. And I think what I was saying at the conference, at that conference that you mentioned was, I think sometimes when you are a minority in the room, or when you see people in positions that don't look like you, sometimes it's easy to count yourself out and say, this might not be for me, or maybe I don't belong here if nobody that looks like me or has had a path similar to mine has done this. Maybe there's a reason for it. But sometimes it's just maybe haven't put yourself out there. And so
Sure. Sure.
doing that, it was the best decision that I ever made. And really what's been so cool in this whole process is, going to events and meeting with people in the community, especially young girls that have reached out to me and have shown an interest in going to law school. And I've had, next week, I'm having another girl from the community that's coming in and doing some shadowing. And it's just, that response and having people get excited and want to come to the courthouse and see what's going on and be part of the, the process of our justice system. That has been just so cool and so rewarding.
Very good. Yeah, I seem to remember Carrie telling me as well that you had talked a little about the importance of for people who come before your court to be able to see someone who looks like them and talks like them.
Yeah, it's I think in the past, as I worked as a defense attorney for many years, and I've interacted with, I've had clients all throughout the state from all kind of different walks of life and different life experiences. But you are sometimes, when you meet people and they're kind of in crisis, and you're, trying to help them, find a way forward, a path forward, to get better, to make some changes. And I think when you're taking advice from people or people telling you what to do, sometimes it's easy to say, what do you know about my life? Why should I listen to you? You don't really know what I'm dealing with. You haven't, walked in my shoes. You don't know what my struggle is. Who are you to give me advice and stuff? And so I think, my experience working with people, and, I'm a person who definitely, I've had my own trials and tribulations over my life. And, I'm not a person who, even when I went to law school, like I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I had an idea through reading and learning about history of, what lawyers did. And, I knew it was something that I wanted to be a part of. What really drew me to it was kind of, the role of lawyers in the civil rights movement and different social movements where I think we've slowly seen the kind of promises of America become fulfilled. And the idea of helping people and being part of that path was, something that was really inspiring to me. But, when I was a kid, living in Florida, and I lived at, public housing, I was on food stamps, nobody in my family had went to college. My dad was incarcerated, and I didn't see a way out of that for a long time and stuff, because I didn't see people, again, that really looked like I read about it in books and saw people, on TV, but I really, with my own eyes, didn't see people that looked like me, that I knew, doing the things I wanted to do. And that's even when I've been on the bench for about a year now, and even now I'll have, people come into my courtroom and, I'll say, oh, what case are you here for? Come on up. And they'll just say, I just needed to see it with my own eyes. Oh. And it is such a, it almost makes me cry talking about it, but it's just something that it's like, wow, that I could do that or be part of that and have somebody see that and have it be really meaningful to them, the same way it was meaningful to me, to even read books and, see movies about people doing the things that I want to do is just, it's such a cool experience.
I have to say, Judge Morse, that I am not used to judges speaking with such joy and enthusiasm for their work. we tend to think of judges, well, okay, being old white guys like me, kind of going parole. So it's very interesting to see that, and very welcome, I think. But tell us about the role of faith and how that relates to where you've gotten.
I think it's community. I think that I would never have gotten where I am without having a community of people that supported me and believe in me. And I think that is, and also I think can have some accountability,
Mhm.
And so I think, we are kind of in or I think we've gotten into this kind of digital age where we don't really know our neighbors that well. We don't, your problems aren't my problems, and it's kind of easy to kind of treat each other like strangers. And I've been, in different places I've lived and experiences I've had in school and stuff where I've kind of been the other or the person that's different than everybody else. And having people I think my very first friend that I had when I moved from Florida to Illinois. I was in 4th grade. I didn't know anybody. We were I was me and my brother and sister were really the only people of color at our school and in our area. Hold on. And it was I had my best friend Maggie was her family was really she came from a big, large Irish Catholic family. And even though I wasn't Catholic, I wasn't raised that way, and I didn't have any experience, the deal was I had to if I wanted to stay the night, we had to go to church in the morning. And and that was really, in the town where I lived in, the first time I really felt welcomed into the community and had people embrace me and include me in that, and moving to a new place. And so I think that's, like I said, the idea of having a space in a community is so important. It's so important in the, a lot of the people we see in court that are struggling with addiction and things like that. A lot of them don't have that community and don't have, that group that's gonna, wrap their arms around them and really embrace them and give them that support. So, yeah, that's kind of just generally.
Mhm. Well, your story reminds me of one my brother-in-law tells about with his best friend, who would the two of them would decide whose house to sleep over on a Saturday night, based on the idea if you're going to church in the morning, because if you went to Joe's church, you got to go to Donut Sunday. And so these things, these very minor things, like you said, like making the right friend can just open up an entirely new world for you.
Definitely.
So one last question for you. You run into a little girl, maybe 9 years old, on the street, and she says, "Wow, I can't believe I'm meeting you, Judge Morse." What do you say to her?
I'm so excited I'm meeting you. I think that's, I, have a job and, where I wear a robe and I sit in front of people, but, it's, what your job is doesn't necessarily, it's not what makes you special. It's not what makes you important to people. It's how, your kindness, how you interact with people in the world. We're all individuals and bring something, there's no one else like anybody else, and so each of us has something special that's just ours. And figuring out what that gift is, where that light is, and sharing that is amazing. And so as much as a little girl might look up to me, I think I just get excited and, for what are you going to, who knows what you're going to be? You could be president, you could do anything. And so I may look back on this one day and say, oh, I met her when she was 9, and so,
Right.
I would tell her, be reminded that, you're special and you can do anything that you want to do. And it doesn't, like I said, I might wear a different outfit, but it doesn't mean I'm, my life or anything is more important than anybody else's.
Wonderful. Well, Judge Ashley Morse of the Rock County Circuit Court, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I hope we'll talk again sometime.
All right. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank you.